Okay, good afternoon. This is Udi from AudioCodes, and today we are going to do a demo about the SEM, Session Experience Manager. We have on the call with us Ed Noimer with AudioCodes and Ron from our partner Chips Technology in Long Island. So I will start with some presentations, few slides, and then I will go ahead directly to the live demo with the SEM that we have in AudioCodes in the headquarters. So let's start with the presentation first. So what is a SEM? SEM. SEM stands for Session Experience Manager. It's a tool that can help manage the VoIP traffic in terms of quality of service. Okay, so now everybody moves to SIP trunk, IP, SIP, voice. They need to see a way to manage those voice traffic, because if a customer complains, say, I have poor voice quality, that doesn't mean anything. I need somehow a tool to monitor this type of traffic using, we will see it in the presentation how we do that, but we need a tool to monitor those voice traffic. So SEM is the solution for such a monitoring tool for voice over IP calls, voice calls, in terms of quality of service. So what is the need? The need is, if there is an SMB or enterprise, small or medium, it doesn't matter, that they have some kind of ISP connection to a service provider or a hosted solution, okay? There is an access link and the customer complains they have bad quality, okay? So the hosted services somehow needs to access that connection and see, in terms of VoIP, in terms of SIP and RTP and media, what's the problem, what's the quality of experience. Now they talk about quality of experience, not quality of service. What's the problem in this QoE that the customer is complaining about? What's the MOS? What's the delay? Maybe there is a jitter. So there is a need in the market for a tool that will monitor that, especially when it comes to SLA agreement between the customer and the service provider or a hosted solution. And the SEM basically is supposed to have a solution for that. So the description. The description is that the way it works, the SEM, Session Experience Manager, today is sitting inside AudioCodes EMS. EMS is Element Management Server. It's an old product from AudioCodes. Basically, the EMS is for monitoring and configuring AudioCodes gateways and SBC. The SEM is an added on into the EMS. So by enabling the SEM, I will also have the ability to monitor MOS and jitter and quality of service, etc. Now, basically, the algorithm that we are using similar algorithm to RTCP-XR. However, I do not expect the endpoints, such as the gateways, IP phones, SBC, to support RTCP-XR. Today, the SEM supports only AudioCodes product, mainly SBCs. In the next version, it's going to be also gateways. In the future, we are planning to support non-AudioCodes product. Those non-AudioCodes products, for example, it can be a third-party IP phone or a third-party gateway. That device doesn't have to have RTCP-XR. It's very important. There are some solutions in the market, but it requires probes to put on each one of those devices. With AudioCodes, we don't need anything. No probes and not the ability to have RTCP-XR. If the endpoint supports RTCP-XR, great. We will have more information than the default one. But if it doesn't support that, that's fine. We will still be able to provide you MOS, jitter, quality of service, etc., as we will see in the demo. Okay, so that's basically the description of the solution. How it works. So what happens is that, as I said, today we support it on AudioCodes SBC. In the future, it's going to be on the gateway as well. The SBCs and the gateway in the future, and also AudioCodes IP phones and some AudioCodes, the other products from AudioCodes will be supported by the SEM. Those devices will report to the SEM. For example, if I have an SBC and I have a gateway, so through the SBC I have traffic, SIP to SIP traffic. Through the gateway I also have traffic, TDM to SIP traffic. Those devices will send constantly reports and alarms to the SEM. So the SEM will basically collect that information from those devices, SBCs, gateways. In the future, it's going to be also AudioCodes IP phone and other devices such as SPS. But today, the SBC and gateways is going to be in the next version. Those devices will send reports constantly to the SEM, to the Session Experience Manager. So if I have a call between a SIP trunk provider through an SBC to my customer, that customer can have an IP phone or a gateway or what have you. It doesn't matter. That call goes through the SBC. The SBC will report it into the SEM. So if I log into the SEM, and we will see it in the demo, and I can choose, okay, I want to see SBC number 1. And if I click on the SBC, I can see all the calls, and I can look for that specific call that the customer complained about. Hey, I called at 2 o'clock on Thursday, and after 2 minutes, the call dropped. So I can look for that call under that specific SBC, because I know that customer is going through SBC number 1, for example. I know that. So I can look at that call, and I can click on that, and I can see the trend. What happened to that call from start to finish? What was the MOS? What was the jitter? Maybe there was a delay. And what was the reason for disconnection? Okay, so this is how it works. The gateways and SBCs, and in the future, as I said, more and more devices from AudioCodes, sends constantly reports into the SEM, and the SEM basically have all these, the SEM has all this information in a nice graphical way. We will see it in the demo. So this is how it works. So here it is in a nice, just a network architecture. So basically the SBC that I have here, gateways in the future as well, if I have a gateway. So they all send reports to the...
Udi, when will the gateways have this capability?
Okay, so in the future we'll have it on every gateway of AudioCodes. Today, in the future, meaning July 1st or so, we are going to have it in the gateway. Today we have it on every SBC from AudioCodes. It's going to be Mediant 1000, 800, or 3000. Every SBC from AudioCodes supports SEM. In the future, July 1st, we are going to add the entire gateway family from AudioCodes.
Understood. Thank you. And so going back to your RTP question, for you're saying you need a device out there that supports RTP in order to do this, in order to retrieve all the variables. What devices are supported today that you can share with us or share with me?
No, what I said is that I do not require RTCP-XR. I'm using similar algorithm, but I'm not required the endpoint to support RTCP-XR.
It does not need to support it. Okay.
It doesn't have to support it. If it supports it, great. We will have even more information coming from that device. But by default, we do not require the endpoint to support RTCP-XR. And as I said, today, everything is only AudioCodes devices. In the future, we're going to have other non-AudioCodes devices. So
your handsets are okay.
Not today. Our AudioCodes headset will be next version, probably, maybe even the one after that. We are focusing today on SBC, and it makes sense because SBC, everything goes through that SBC. And gateways, the next one will be probably AudioCodes IP phones and also.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
And of course, AudioCodes support RTCP-XR. So with AudioCodes, you will see more than just. You will see more information by default than the default one. But in the future, when we start adding more and more devices, and we are going to have, of course, the list. Let's say Cisco gateway, Cisco IP phones, Avaya IP phone, etc. We will have a list of everything that has been tested with the SEM. So you will see the information will be a bit less than what you used to see with AudioCodes, because we support, of course, RTCP-XR. So today, it's in beta, the SEM. It's going to be GA July timeframe when we release version 6.6. So today, as I said, we support SBC, Mediant 800, 3000, 1000. In 6.6, which is supposed to be released around July, we are going to support as well gateways. In the roadmap, we are going to add AudioCodes IP phones and also the VMAS, which is the mobility solution that we have, and the Mediant 4000, which is a large SBC. Today, as I said at the beginning, we are shipping the SEM together with the EMS. So if somebody has an EMS, we recommend to add that SEM on top of the EMS. If somebody doesn't have EMS, the way we ship it today is we will ship a complete EMS which runs on an HP server or Dell server, I forgot which one, it doesn't matter, but it comes as an appliance. It's a server with the EMS software installed and SEM installed as well. In 6.6, around July timeframe, the SEM will not have to resign on the EMS, and it also can be virtualized. So the customer, if the customer chooses to, we can just ship a DVD and the customer can install it in their environment. But as I said today, because it's still under beta, it comes with the EMS. Now, if you ask me, some customer, I think the EMS will be a beneficial for them as well, because the EMS makes configuration and monitoring on AudioCodes devices. So it makes sense for some customer to have the EMS. And if they have the EMS, that's great. Let's put the SEM on top of that. But as I said, in the future, it will not have to be in the same server. We will be able to sell the SEM as a virtual machine, just selling a DVD. Okay, so as I said, 6.4, what we have now is a beta, comes with the EMS. And to monitor that, to enable that monitoring, there are two licenses. One license is for the device itself. For example, AudioCodes SBC, AudioCodes Gateway, 200 AudioCodes IP phone in the future, not now. So it will be one license is for the device itself, and one license is per session. Okay, because I can have 3 SBCs. Each one of them has 100, 100 SBC sessions. Okay, so I need 3 licenses, 1 per SBC. But it doesn't mean that I need 300 SBC licenses, because maybe on any given time, I just need 100 concurrent calls. So I can license the SEM per session, the concurrent session. This is the way it works now. One license for the device and one license per session in the SEM itself. Okay, so I think that was the last slide, and then I would like to go over to the live demo. And again, Ron, if you have any questions, just unmute yourself and just ask anything. Do not use the chat one. Okay, so I will share my desktop. Okay, can you see the web GUI of the SEM?
Yes.
Okay, great. Let me just refresh. This is basically AudioCodes SEM located at the headquarters in Tel Aviv area. In our network, you will see we have 3 devices. Okay, so in the network, we have 3 devices. One is called Alpha, one is called SEM SBC, one is called VMS. VMS is our mobility solution. We have a device that accepts calls from a data network to a mobile solution. This is the web GUI of the SEM. The reason you don't see any calls because they are on vacation in Israel, so nobody is using that. As I said, they wanted to do some maintenance, and I told them not to touch the SEM because I wanted to do the live demo. So instead of the last 3 hours that you see here, I can change that to the last 7 days. Press refresh, and now you will see there are some calls. Okay, because in the last 3 hours, as I said, they're on vacation. There is a holiday now, so nobody's using it. So once I chose 7 days, you will see some calls, and let's analyze it. We are going to focus on the VMS SBC. Why? Because it's much more attractive, and I will explain. The VMS SBC that we have is, as I said, it's a device that accepts mainly calls that are coming from a mobile solution, and because of that, we rely on some data network. So you will see that most of the bad calls that we have, poor quality, coming from that SBC. The other SBCs are nice, but almost 100% the calls are great calls. So it's not attractive. I want you to see both good quality calls and poor quality calls. So the way we see it here, the main page is, by the way, I forgot to tell you that this is, I can see the network. In the future, we're going to have like line between them, and each line will represent how the thickness of the line will represent how much calls, and the color will represent the quality of the calls. So we will have like a mapping, like a network look on the devices that we have. So these are, as I said, 3 devices. On the right-hand side, we will see success and failed call. Again, failed call, if it's a busy or no answer, that's not a failed call. That's a call that nobody answered. That's fine, but it's not a failed call. Failed call meaning that the call was dropped because of some reason. That's a failed call. If somebody called someone and it was busy, that's not a failed call. It's just a busy call, but it's not failed. So you will see in a nice graphical way the number of calls, how many calls failed, how many calls no answer and busy. You will see 26%. On the left-hand side here, you will see alarms coming from the devices. And those alarms, by the way, also populated to the AudioCodes EMS. So in the EMS, if somebody has EMS, you will also see alarms in the EMS as well as in the SEM. As I said, I would like to focus on that VMAS SBC because it's much more attractive than the other. So I can select, instead of all SBCs, I can just select the VMAS SBC and press refresh, submit, and I will see just that device. And you see, I have a lot of poor quality call. As I said, because that device basically accepts mobile calls coming from a data network into an AudioCodes network. So it makes sense that I will have poor quality because I rely on the data network connectivity that each and one of the mobile users has. So that's why it's more attractive to see it, because you will see poor calls as well as successful calls. If I want to see the information of that specific SBC, I go to the statistic, I press on that, and it changed to this graphical picture that we see here. Now, this is only the SBC for the VMAS, as I said. That's the only one that it's interesting for our conversation, because it has good call as well as poor quality call. This is because, remember, we chose 7 days, so it shows you the days. April 3rd, April 4th, 5th, 6th, etc. As you see, the last 2 days, no calls, because, as I said, they are on vacation. So if you put the mouse on that, you will see how many calls, total 89 calls, 97% are successful call, and the rest are a failed call. Okay, if I go to the red, you will see 175 call on day number 3, and failed call 13, which is 7.6%. If I want to see the quality, I just go down to the second one and I see poor quality 58.9. This one is fair quality, and this one is good quality. What is good, fair, and poor? There is a parameter on each and one of the devices that you can choose. For example, on SBC number 1, I can choose the threshold to be good quality, and poor quality is this and that. On other SBCs, if I want, I can change the default configuration, and I can choose, if I want, I can choose a different threshold, and that will represent here on the SEM. Yes, Ron, there was a question?
Yeah, so this is great information, but I guess the main question I have is, each leg of the call, and understand, this is showing me end-to-end. I don't know if you're going to go into more detail on...
Absolutely. Okay. Absolutely, yep.
I'll be quiet.
That's the difference between good question and an excellent question. Good question, I have an answer. Excellent question, I have a slide. In this case, I have a page. I have a page just for the calls itself. So we will see the exact call, who called who, and the trend of the call. First it was good, then it was bad. I will see it when I click on the call. But now it's just the SBC as a one snapshot of the SBC, and then I can go into each and one of the calls. This one represents quality. This one represents MOS. Now I can change that if I want. Instead of MOS, I can choose, for example, quality and jitter as well. Okay, because this is the quality and this is the MOS. So this one was 2.7 on average. This one was 2.6, 2.6, 2.9, 3.2, 2.8. I can change that graphically if I want to jitter, for example. So now it represents the jitter 3. It comes in millisecond, 4 millisecond, 1 millisecond. I can change that to delay. What was the delay? Oh, that was 374 millisecond, which is not so good. 475, 443. So I can play with that basically. As well as here, this one is by default is the success and fail call, but you can change that to average call duration if you want. The average one here was in seconds, so 1100 seconds. This one was 200 seconds, etc. So I can change that as I wish. And utilization bandwidth, receive transmit. So on average, of course, it's in kilobit. So 4.2 mega. This one 5.6. So, and I can change that if I want to something like that, if somebody wants a different representation. Again, the pi and everything is changed in real time. So instead of 7 days, I can choose, for example, let's do customization. Let's do the last 3 days. I don't know, for let's say from Thursday. So everything changed accordingly in real time. Once I change that, everything is changed. Okay, so let's go back to the 7 days. So on the right-hand side, the pi, again, poor quality 66% on that specific timeline, so 7 days. Good quality 17% and fair quality. Okay, so I have all the statistics here. Now, let's go to the calls, to each one of the calls. If I click on the calls, now I can see each one of the calls. So if somebody complained about, and this is page 1 of 26, so and I can search if I want to on specific call. So let's take a successful call, but the quality wasn't so good. So let's click on, for example, this call. Okay, what I can see on that call is that's the call quality. So it started as a poor quality, not started, but from this number to the SBC, that's the data side. Remember, I'm receiving calls from mobile. That was a poor quality. Why? Because it was a data network on the smartphone that user has. And from the SBC internally into an AudioCodes network, this is a good quality. And it makes sense because it's our network, we control that. Okay, so if a customer complains, hey, I had poor quality, then I can open this SEM, I can look for that call, and then I can analyze it. Okay, I can see that the data network that user has a poor quality. Okay, I understand that. Let me take a look at the AudioCode side. The AudioCode side was a good quality. Okay, if it was bad quality here, at least I can control it. I can go to my IT people and see what was the problem. But in this case, and that's the reason I want you to see, sorry about that, and that's the reason I want you to see this SBC, because there are a lot of poor quality because it's coming from a data network. This tab here, it says call quality. So I have the MOS 1.9, LQ and CQ, I think it's there is a difference between them. I forgot exactly what was the difference. So this one is calculated 1.9, this is 3.2. The jitter, it's 202, and it's interesting because how come the device side, which is the AudioCode side, has 202 millisecond, and the caller side has only 5. So what we've seen is that some devices in the market do not represent accurately those that information, jitter and packet loss, etc. So round trip delay, you will see it's 2 different numbers. It's supposed to be the same number because it's the same leg, but we saw that it happened that those smartphones, they do not provide the accurate information. So if you want to trust somebody, it will be the AudioCodes SBC side. So that's the reason. It's a different number, but if you want to trust somebody, it will be this one. And the reason it says here -1, because that device doesn't support RTCP-XR. If it had RTCP-XR, you would have seen his representation on the MOS. So the 1.9 is the AudioCodes device that tells you what's the most. Here on the other side is the same thing. That's the SBC, goes into the whatever IP phone that is, I don't know. So, or maybe even a mobile number internally in AudioCodes. So you see the most is 4.1. It's much better than the other one because it's internally in AudioCodes. The jitter is only 10 millisecond, packet loss nothing, round trip delay 14 millisecond. So you can see that the difference between the one leg of the call into the other leg of the call. If I go to the control info, I click on that, I see from control, from SIP perspective, which port, which IP address to which IP address, what's the URI before manipulation, if there is any manipulation. You will see all the information about from signaling perspective. What's the diffserv 40? Is that UDP or TCP or TLS? That's UDP. IP group in AudioCodes device, it's represented as IP group number 1, whatever that is in the device. Also on the other side, you will see the SIP port, SIP IP address, because that's the local area network, so it's a local IP address, unlike here, which is a public IP address, etc. You will see all the SIP information on that call. Media, same thing. You will see the media, G729, 20 millisecond, silence compression is off, RX, TX kilobits per second, the IP address, the port, all the media information of the call, you will see it here. It was G729 as you see here, but it was transcoded to G711 here. So you can see that as well. The trend of the call, how the call started in terms of MOS. At the beginning it was, that's when the time, 12:54, that's the time that it was initiated. And you will see the MOS, it was 1.3, and then 1.9, 2.4. You will see on every second what's happening to each one of the characters that we chose. This is delay. So at the beginning it was at 12:54, it was almost over 1,000 millisecond delay, or 1.3 basically, 1.3 second, and then it dropped down, and then there is some delay, and then it's even higher here, 3.2 second delay. So that's big. So you will see that.
So that's extremely granular, which is good.
Yeah. Now, there is a problem, maybe because of the live meeting, but usually you're supposed to see that page. You're supposed to see the entire page, not only half of it as I see it here, because I'm using the live meeting. But anyway, if it's just a regular browser, you will see all the information. Oh, I'm sorry, that was the other. You can just switch between those calls. That's the other call. But anyway, here the jitter on that side, the packet lost. So you can see the packet loss, what's happening. Again, I apologize that we cannot see all the graphs because of I guess it's the live meeting, but here the packet loss was 3 in terms of percent, 3%, which is considered high. So you will see the trend on each one of those characters. You will see it in this one. If you click on the alarms, you will see alarms if there were any alarms. In this case, there wasn't any alarm. Okay, so that's the beauty of it. You can see everything on that call, and I can choose a different call. That was a successful call again, but the quality was a bit better. Oh, that was even the opposite. So in AudioCodes, the quality was poor for whatever reason. We have 3.4 MOS. Okay, that's interesting. So yeah, we have cases like that, I guess, as well. So we have poor quality here. So we can. Yes.
So now that you're able to obtain all this information, I mean, this is just one single call, but we look for trend analysis on multiples inbound and outbound calls. How would you do that? Is there a reporting mechanism that goes along with this, where we can see trend analysis on some of these legs?
Okay, excellent question. So currently,
I mean, you have a slide for it?
Yeah. So yeah. So currently, on the beta product that we have, we don't have any reports. We are working on reports right now as we speak. So to answer the question, yes, it's going to be on the GA one around July. You will have the ability to create reports on per any information. For example, show me all the poor voice quality from most, let's say 3.0 and below for the last 7 days. So you will be able to see that. We are working on reports as we speak. So, but currently I don't have it here on that SEM.
That's okay.
But
So what I'd be curious and interested about is, so if we're doing a hosted service and you have a lot of ISP services to your clients, I'd want to be able to do an analysis on the transport between that client on their ISP services to see how effective that ISP service is for transporting voice. Is it 60% of the time it's got good call quality available, or 30%, 40% of the time latency and general is so great that in fact you won't be able to pass good call quality. So that would be interesting to see.
Yeah, I will take it back to the product management. But as I said, yes, we are working on those reports. I'm assuming. Remember, we are chasing after a hosted solution like yourself. We are chasing after SBCs with multiple ISPs. So I'm sure we'll have that, and if not, we will add that. That's basic stuff. What else I can show here? So we can see the calls. Okay, failed. Let's go to the failed call. Okay, so in this call, the call was failed, meaning it was a disconnection, and so it was disconnected during the call, abnormal termination. Okay, and currently it says here recovery on timer expire. We are going to change that the description, because this doesn't really mean anything from our perspective. If somebody sitting in a knock and sees something like that, it's not necessary that he or she will understand what it means. So we are going to change that in the GA. It will be more readable, normal description what exactly happened. Okay, currently we just represent the SIP message, the 5XX or the 4XS message. That's I think 5-something message that says recovery on timer expire. Okay, but we are going to change that probably in the future, that it will be much a better description. But for now, you can see the SIP message, the SIP termination message, what was the reason. Okay, so again, failed call means that there was a call. In this case, it was 305 second call, and after that it was disconnected, and the SIP reason was recovery on timer expire. So we can see it in this graph. We can see exactly what was. So it was a SIP timer that was expired. So you can check that. If a customer complains, you can check that as well. And of course, we will have. You can click on that. Currently, it doesn't do anything on the debug details, but let me see if they added here. Okay, so you will see the EMS call ID, the session ID, the SIP session ID. So if you have like a trace that you took a trace, you can just search for that session ID and you can see it. You can look for it in your trace and you can try to recognize what was the reason. So you get these debug details on that call. Let's go to the alarm. Okay, so we have 2 alarms here, Ethernet link up and down. That was 9:32 on April 8th, so it was yesterday, and it was fixed. Otherwise, I wouldn't be able to log into the SEM, but you will see the alarm here. As I said, the alarm also are represented in the EMS as well, not only on the SEM. So that's basically, we looked over everything that I wanted to show you for the SEM. If there is any question or any remark or...
No, I mean, it looks fine, Udi. I mean, obviously the questions that I would have is, expansion of termination endpoints, because obviously you're not going to have an SBC in every location in some parameters. I mean, going to AudioCodes phones would be great, but also, can the reporting obviously would be really imperative, only because then you create some sort of dashboards for failures.
Absolutely.
So that would be really important.
We will do the same session run in about, give me like 3 months or so, and we will do the same session again, and I'll show you more about the reports.
No, I think this is a great product. I mean, look how many times we've had to, call multiple vendors to try to figure out the MOS score on every leg of a call to see where we're at. So this would be very, very good to have.
Yeah, good, good. Okay. If there is no any question, I will stop the recording. But stay on the line, Ron. I have a question for you. But thank you for your question and participation. Let me just stop the recording now.